Hey gamers, welcome back to the channel, where we dive into the classics that defined a generation. Today we're hitting the streets in one of the most exhilarating racing games of the 8-bit era, Rad Racer on the NES. Rad Racer, also known as Highway Star for my Japanese viewers, was a high-speed racing game where the player drives either a Ferrari 328 or a Formula 1 race car from the driver's perspective as you race across the US. Rad Racer was a bit ahead of its time in my mind, since it was the first NES game to make use of stereoscopic 3D. So what exactly is that? Well, stereoscopic 3D is a technique that creates the illusion of depth in images when viewed on certain types of displays, by presenting two different images, one to each eye, and then the brain then takes those two images and combines them to create the 3D effect. Thus the reason that when you go to a 3D movie you have to put on those nifty 3D glasses. The images presented to you are one in red and one in blue, and when you put on the 3D glasses, your brain combines those two images to give you a 3D image. Again, let's move on. Rad Racer went on to sell 1.96 million copies, despite having reviews comparing it to the arcade classic Outrun. And if you remember the old 80s movies about a video game genius called The Wizard, the game made an appearance in there as well. One of the first things you'll notice about Rad Racer is its simplicity. The controls are straightforward. A to accelerate, B to brake, and the D-pad to steer. It's easy to pick up and play with no complicated control scheme to figure out. Rad Racer has a set of 8 tracks to choose from, with their own level of difficulty to master, and they are Sunset Coastline, San Francisco Highway, Grand Canyon, Ruins of Athens, Los Angeles Nightway, Snow White Line, Seaway in Typhoon, Last Seaside Standing. One of the aspects of Rad Racer that stands out is its 3D mode. Once you press start, you're given the 3D mode. Now, considering how 3D technology has grown over the years, this little idea is nothing big. But back in the 80s, to have an NES game use 3D in the game was mind-blowing, to say the least. And if you had a pair of those red and blue 3D glasses, you could play the game in 3D. However, right now, I really can't show you the 3D mode since I can't give you a pair of 3D glasses. But trust me, if you were a kid back in the day, you were in for a treat. Another thing that makes Rad Racer stand out from all the rest is how it showed speed on an 8-bit system. Once you hit that A button to accelerate, you're met with a fast, high-paced energy race game with graphics that are still good for 8-bit today. However, Rad Racer is not an easy game to master, because what car you choose, you have to figure out how each one handles, because if you don't, you'll end up crashing and burning. Rad Racer is a game of trial and error as you run the race course, but once you cross the finish line, you'll feel like you accomplished something truly amazing. So let's wrap this up. Rad Racer is one of those gems that every retro game collector needs to have. For me, this game sets the bar for every racing game to come, whether you play Blur or Need for Speed. Rad Racer was the ER of racing games. Where ER is the standard for all hospital procedural shows, Rad Racer set the standard for all other console racing games to come after it. So give Rad Racer a spin, no pun intended. And I am Professor Retro, reminding you to keep your consoles turned on, your controllers plugged in, and to remember to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell so you get the heads up of when the next episode of Retro Reviews comes out. With that, I am Professor Retro saying peace out, stay frosty, and don't crash.